Hello, hello. How's it going? Got a little that side. I got a little bulb there. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. Fixing the lights. Got started a little bit late here. I was trying to do. I keep that side. Yeah, there we go. I was trying to update the stream chat, but I didn't quite finish. And then made myself late in the process. So that's how it goes. All right. Lighting looks good. I think we're all set. All right. A little scatterbrained today, I guess. So, last week we went through, we called it a project day, and we went through, in a web app that I've been working on for some time that is around the finance, personal finance, like planning space. And my intent is that I'm going to try to make it a little bit more of a consistent, not like a every week thing consistent, but like once a quarter, once a month, depending on other topics, project that we kind of keep coming back to. It has a Tori app integration. We get some web dev things. It should give us a nice little playground to have discussions around. But also it allows me to move that project forward and potentially get others interested. And in both I would love for people to use it, but I'm always open for others interested in contributing to it too. So if either of those are you, go. Not there. Here. I got more screen space. I need to move this over. Here we go. I really need to update the snap there. It's not quite perfect yet. Close. Actually, I do want that open. We need. Let's get the streams open on another monitor. So today, what we're going to be looking at, we did last week more of a planning session around where we want to take the project, things that might make sense to do, that sort of thing. And one of the items that we identified was the UI library, or one of the like UI design system libraries that we were using, that had accessibility as like a main bullet point, has kind of gone unmaintained. So something that I want to look at today is React Spectrum. And we identified, I had seen this come up of a few times in the past, but we had identified it as a potential option for something to look at last week. This is being worked on by one of the same maintainers that does Parcel. So I definitely respect their work, and they are with Adobe, and that provides some expectations that I would presume that this library ends up being maintained for a reasonable amount of time. And one of the things that really interested me in it. Hi, yes, I see you there. Accessibility is like a primary bullet point. Where is that? Buddy, come on. Say hi. This is the other kitty who doesn't like to, not much of a cuddler. Definitely loves attention though. Yeah, you can stay here. You can stay here. No, you're gonna leave? You're just gonna scratch me from below. So, number one bullet point, accessible. I appreciate that. And I think that is something that reacts daily. Got distracted. I think that's something that's important and that I would like to also consider. How do I want to say this? It's important, but also I want to make sure that it can is important as part of the project too. We need our chat, don't we? There we go. Okay. So we have, I think it's React headless, or no, headless UI and Reach UI in a couple places. I think this can potentially, I think it could potentially replace Reach UI. Maybe I'll actually say, I think it makes sense to use this to replace Reach UI. I think it also has the potential to replace our use of headless UI. And they've got I guess they have a couple React Spectrum. So what's interesting about react-aria, this is more of a UI primitives. So we can still put our own design system around it, which I think is nice. And then React Spectrum would be their design system on top, I'm presuming on top of react-aria. Yes, buddy? Hi. You're still here. All morning. He'll put up his paw and he has his front claws. And they're definitely getting long. They need to be cut. So he'll like put up his claw and then just like one or two claws will end up poking me. It's like a bunch of little needles poking. Yes. Come on up if you want pets. Just come say hi to chat. I need like a chair right next to me so he can sit. Actually, should I do that? I don't know if I can get it in the stream, but. Come on up. Come on. No, it's not gonna quite be in the stream, but it'll be close enough where you can see little kitty. There we go. That'll work. It'll at least satiate his attention. I'll just have one hand scratching him the whole time while we're talking. If you have a cat, you know what I'm talking about. the one-handed programming, because the cat is taking attention of the other hand. Okay, so I don't know if we want this specific design system. We'll see. The react-aria is definitely something that we do want. I haven't actually looked at this React stately. It's possible, but that this might end up making sense to pull in. If it is more of internal component state primitives, this might actually make sense to use, where we have kind of like internal input component state, and then we have more of a global external state. Doesn't make sense to have some of that internal specific input item or element state in a global store. So this might potentially make sense to pull in. But I think the thing that we are going to start with is react-aria. And so this is still in beta. It seems like they had pushed it further. We have a lot of things to look at. I'm trying to think of where we should start. Much of the use case here, I think, is going to be around inputs. What might those look like? So there's calendars. We're using the built-in, for the most part, the built-in like browser-based calendar. Drop zone here. Forms. These are probably going to be where we want to look at first. So there's sliders, switch, search field, and you can see that they aren't deeply styled. This does have some CSS that you can bring along for the ride, though, which is kind of nice. So, and then tabs. I think tabs are the other one. The tab is being handled by headless UI, I think. Let's bounce over to that real quick. And this, you can see here, it's a project of Tailwind. So we are using Tailwind on this project, which is part of the reason that this started to make more sense. It has some things that are nice, like the tabs, and I guess the combo box or the list box might be something that it would make sense for us to use. But it's much more geared towards like marketing sites, I feel like. And like they look nice, but I don't see so much reason to include this if we also are using this, which might have the same functionality. So I think we're gonna go in and replace the Reach UI components and go from there. I think I still have some in there, but we'll find out here. I actually don't have it cloned in this computer. This computer is 3 months old now. And we actually built a fair amount of it on stream. So there's a few projects and such that I haven't actually pulled in yet. So we're going to git clone and pull it in here. We have 2 branches. We have the next and the release. No. View all branches. We have the next branch, and then we have the, I think it's main. It's either main or production. And I am not recalling. There's a lot of dependency update branches here. Maybe it is release. And they dictate like which site based on the subdomain gets deployed. So the next is basically like our dev branch. Anytime we make a push to the dev, it goes into this. So this would be in a place where we might expect bugs or something to potentially crop up, but it gives a quick feedback loop. We can get something to dev make use of it a little bit. If something is going wrong, somebody could switch back to just the default, the default one. So we're going to leave it on the next, and most of what we're going to look at right now is going to be on the next branch. We have a bunch of dependency updates, which I think some of them will actually make sense to do. And we do have a few updates kind of queued up and ready to go here. We have a parcel update, tailwind update. So some of these things might actually make sense to update again, which is a bit ironic. And we have a web and then we have an app. So the app will show up in our releases. When we release the app, we will get this type of changelog, and then we'll have assets where somebody could download the installer, the app installer. This is a Tori app, and if it isn't, we should get it hooked up with the updater, which means somebody could install it once, and then the updater should theoretically take care of all their updates from there on out. And we don't have any actual local state saved in the browser or the or in the app. We're relying strictly on the browser state. So we don't dump anything to local storage. We don't push anything up to the cloud in any way, which I think is important for finance type apps. One of the ways I've heard this pattern is called local first. So the idea is that we handle all of the data locally, and we can potentially then add on the options to sync it somewhere. But that's not how you're considering things first. But obviously you don't want to put in a whole ton of work. And the moment you refresh your browser, it all just goes away. So we have a way to parse and serialize a JSON structure which holds your data, so you can just save it to your hard drive. And that's nice, and it works. Nice in terms of you own your data, but the experience isn't amazing. So it's trade-offs. I think it's valuable to have that, but we're probably going to want to put in more options that are maybe a cloud save or something like that. But that's something that we'll look at in the future. So we have a few things to update, and there's not really any pull requests sitting out here that we need to care about. Like parcel is. I think I might have. I'm curious what my Tori app version is here. Yeah, it's still on beta. I think I have updated that and potentially not opened up a PR for it on my old computer. So that's on my to-do list to double check on. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to this. We're going to pull in react-aria. We have a few components already. Go away, go away, go away. Need to disable some of these extensions. Just so many of them. For better or worse. I definitely make use of many, if not all of these, but I don't always use all of them. So, Um, we have a tab view. Tab view is coming from each UI, so that I think is probably going to be the thing that we hit on first. But we have some other elements, and this is in JavaScript right now. TypeScript is potentially an option. I'm not against it, but it isn't. I don't think TypeScript is always just a off-the-cuff choice. I think it can help with maintaining a project. And especially when you're maintaining a project in within a team. Because when you're when you're working on a project and you're doing all the code yourself, you have all that like context in your head potentially. So for future you or others working on the team, having that context just kind of come in through TypeScript or your IDE giving you that context, I think is helpful. The reason I say that your IDE giving you context, you don't necessarily need TypeScript to have your IDE help you out. So there's a JS doc which is starting to help with that. If I am mostly concerned with inputs and outputs from functions, TypeScript might not be something that you need to have, but potentially an option. Not now though. These are going to be, I think, select and radio. Input is just like a text input. Hi, kitty. He's literally just, you can see his ear. He's just sitting on the chair that I brought over. And putting his paw up and asking for attention. But you won't sit on my lap. Silly. Do I need to move over just a little bit here? Can't go over too much though. Okay. I think we hit on all of these are more purely React. React. We can, so tab is reach / tabs. I think they are all separate packages. So if we would search for this, it looks like it's only showing up here. So I think this is the first one we replace. Is React. Let's go to the getting started. I think in this case, we just pull in the full package. This is using npm, and we are on some old versions here. I think we make the switch. We're going to do Volta pin node at 20. That is very soon going LTS, so that should work just fine. And npm is up to version 10, I believe. Yeah. So we can do npm I, install that. We potentially have some things that we'll need to deal with. I thought we had, do we not have resolutions in here for this? So these actually work together. It seems like we've got, Like this and this are compatible, even though their package.json doesn't actually say that. Yeah, so this is specifically saying, hey, we do actually need this. So we're gonna have to look at some resolution stuff real quick. I think we can do that, but I don't quite remember overhand. Actually it's overrides. Yeah, overrides. Is it gonna help us out here? No, I don't think that's right. It is not. So npm overrides. We can basically force, even though these dependencies say that they don't work together, we can force specific versions. So this is, I think, what we're going to want to do. It's not. Yeah, I guess I can't copy that. So we want microstates React to have microstates version 15. This, not that, this. Why isn't it formatting? So overrides, microstates React, this, and then the version. What is it complaining about? Prettier cannot be loaded. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Because we didn't get an install yet. All right, so React is expected to be a certain version, 16, and that also, let's actually put it right there. It also works with 17. So React file reader input apparently does not like. Ooh. I suspect it's going to make sense to rip some of this out. I don't know that we need to use this specific package, especially if it hasn't been touched for 5 years. We can see here. I'm not terribly keen on using it if it hasn't been touched for 5 years. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. This feels like something which would very much benefit from maintenance and security type updates, even if functionality hasn't changed. So I think that's something that we want to potentially come back to. Whoop. I don't know how that popped up. So React here, okay, so it also needs that specific version of React, which is fine. So we're essentially saying we know and want to use React version 17, and anything else that's saying it should only be used with 16, it's fine. Just use it. So headless UI React. And that isn't one that we're necessarily going to remove. So I think we do this. And I'm not sure if we need that or not. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, resolving React test renderer. So React test renderer also is expecting this. My, oh my. And I'm not worrying about like formatting here. Once we get an actual install to go through, here we go. We should be able to then prettier and safe, which I believe is what's set up here. And this is effectively cold cache. So that install process might take a little bit of time here. Certainly not the end of the world. Oh my goodness. Wow. We are getting... That's probably why I was taking a little bit of time. We were throwing errors. So we're on node version 20. YNAB says it needs to use npm version 5. What version of... Okay, so it's got a 1.2. I don't know if this is actually the issue. What else do we say in the logs here? Child process, ms build. JIP. Which, if you're familiar with the ecosystem, is coming from Node JIP. And it's got some OS specific dependencies. So find Python. It's using Python there. We are getting errors from NAN. And some eperms, node resolver core, just. Oh my. Request promised native has been deprecated. Ugh. That says it's a warning. I think I might just upgrade it just to make sure. 1, 2, 0. I'm not super worried about that integration. Seems we are getting further potentially. And you can see we're getting a lot of warnings, which definitely points to needing to do some updates here. We didn't have an existing node modules, so I don't think there's necessarily a bad state situation going on here. But I think I'm going to, just in case, RMRF node modules. I think I probably should bump this up a little bit, eh? I like this. I think, whoop, right here. We'll have to figure out what we want to put there. I don't know. We're still playing around with the layout a little bit. Definitely going to update this to not use 3JS anymore, or React 3 Fiber. and just purely be HTML, CSS, JavaScript, because I think it's going to be easier to maintain because we have some weird functionality oddities going on. But also this way, I want to put some fun interaction type elements down here. To be done though, that is going to be an ongoing process. All right, so we're getting further, it appears. We're getting the ePerm. I don't really want to like bump all of this stuff, but if it's really going to give us this much issue, all right. I don't think it's gonna make a difference, but we don't need reach tabs. We're gonna replace it immediately. We do want react-aria, but we'll install that once we get a build through. Parcel. Do we bump parcel? 293. I think we do. Just kicking around here too is something that is potentially going to make sense to rip out. We are getting what appears to be a little bit further. And it might just need to be this way where we have to update a little bit on the side. I can always potentially like split out and do separate PRs for some of this work. This feels like it's gonna fail. This does not feel like it's going to work well. The errors do change. So I think adjusting these makes sense. I'm going to update this. I maintain that project, so I know that shouldn't really be an issue. Here we go. Okay. Woo. So we should get there we go. We get some auto formatting. Let's do this again. Then we can do an npm add react-aria. npm add react-aria. We're gonna need to fix all of those, but that's going to be ongoing. We are not going to do it at the moment. At least we're getting a build though. So one thing at a time. We have react-aria in here. Now we can do bat. We are on Windows. I don't have cat on here. I'm gonna take off this engines. I don't really feel like that is worthwhile anymore. Start, I guess. Watch. I guess enter watch. Windows dialog. First I'm running that actual executable, so it's letting us know. All right, parcel includes CSS translation vendor prefixing by default. Post CSS config is the following redundant plugins. Okay, so it sounds like we can remove auto prefixer. This is all stuff that it might actually make sense to come back to as well. It's doing some building here. This is what we were hoping for. we removed reach at reach/tabs, and we are now going to implement react-aria. So I think we've gotten to the point where we are getting this area that we can make the swap now, which is cool. So if we go into components, I think hooks. So hooks will give us like specific functionality when you click on a menu, do the thing, or meters, which will adjust or fill up based off interaction. Toasts, which will be a thing that pops up. So some of this, like calendar or forms, use checkbox, use text field. Those will potentially make sense to implement with the actual text field or the components that they have. The one that we care about right now, though, is tabs. So if we do interesting, this is a different import. Okay, so if we look here, we can import that, or we can do that. If we want to build a button, we do this. Stateful components. So this is mentioning this fact that some components might want to maintain an internal state, and rather than us having to handle that, we could potentially use this React stately. Let's look at the components. Okay, so we do need to add that as well. Let's do npm add react-aria components. And we are going to use this. So we were getting the error in tab. We want to use this instead. We're going to go ahead and start this. It's going to throw an error still. Not the end of the world. We have tab list, and then tabs. Tab panel. Okay, so the tab list is the thing up at the top. Tab panel is the actual content itself. We have tabs, which is the same. We've got tab list. I'm not sure. Oh, screen reader only. So that's not going to show up unless you're using a screen reader. Assuming that class is still valid. And tab panels. Tab panel. Okay, they don't actually have a. They don't have this outer thing. Is tab panels is from that? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to need this class, so I'm just going to go ahead and comment this bit and this bit out for the moment. And these should be a swap. The expression evaluated to a falsy value. So is this all parcel? Parcel, graph, parcel. The expression evaluated to a falsy value. So it's coming from react-aria components. Tab view. Tab panel. We've got IDs, aria label. So aria label is potentially a thing that we can just use now. I'm going to, tab, and this whole thing is, this whole thing is wrapped in tabs. the tab list gets an aria label, and we can. That's not the best label, if I'm being honest. We are still getting an error there. react-aria components. Use tab context. Okay, so clicking through gets us between these. We have tabs, tab list, tab, and then tab panel. So we have tabs, tab list, styled tab, which is coming from here. It's using a tab and styling it. That seems fine. And then we have a tab panel, and we're looping through and doing the panel. Oh, this is kind of cool. It explains potential use cases, which I think is pretty nifty. So we potentially do need some state still. Use tabs context. I think I'm just gonna remove that. I'm wondering if this error is coming from like this class name check. We're just gonna say this equals 0. It's not very clear what's happening, so I'm making the presumption that it is now handling CSS things for us, in which case we have an error in our CSS things. That seems to really be the only place that we are doing this. We do have an index. Index coming from there as an on click. Oh no, index is coming from here. So we're setting the index here. Index, index. I don't see any other specific error here. And this is a really cryptic error. What we can do is, well, let's first restart it and just make sure the error persists. Yep. We can take a look here and run build. Build should touch everything in a way which is slightly different than the built-in dev server and the wash script. So sometimes I've found that if we're getting cryptic errors or issues in the dev server, if we specifically run the build, it's going to touch each of these files, and sometimes that will help us key into this files that's specifically giving us issues. So we're getting a whole bunch of these browser list errors. What is our dev dependencies? Babel, auto prefixer. So some of these aren't. I think this comes in because of parcel. So like if we take this out, is it going to put that back in? I think that's the question. So if I run this again, is it going to throw different or more errors? It's just saying that it failed. Interesting. Let's try a build again. Hopefully we can get something out of this. The next step I think is to comment how much this code out. Okay, require query string. Was rerunning. Okay. So Parcel saw that it needed, I think it was query string. It added it, reran npm I to install it, and then redid the build. Alright, so this is all parcel. Not getting much to go off of here, which is unfortunate. We are going to... I'm gonna just comment this whole thing out. Oh. So we don't need tab panels anymore. I'm going to do this. So I do want to keep that class name around. And then we do this. All right, let's just move this up here. It's fine for now. That'll make commenting this whole block out easier. Okay, still getting that error. We weren't getting it before. So something definitely feels wonky here. We can comment out this. Okay. So that should definitely not be doing anything. It is still saying that it evaluated to a falsy value. What is this? Now, it's possible that we were actually getting this before. We could... Let's go ahead and put this back in. Remove this. If we straight away, we haven't done too much in here. I'm going to actually just discard these changes. Do an npm install it and see if we actually get a build. It could be that this is just straight up an issue that's unrelated to what we're doing here. It's just as existing. Yeah. So now the fun bit. Why? This feels very much bundle graph. Let's look at our, so we got a post CSS. We did bump parcel. It's unfortunate if that's gonna be the situation here. That wasn't installing on the old version with Node 20. And honestly, I'm fine just kind of pushing it all forward. We don't have, where's parcel? Parcel right here. Okay. Let's bounce over the parcel docs. Let's look at web app. So we need to be running yarn parcel in the HTML file. When we run yarn watch, we are running yarn watch thing. So I don't think we actually need the watch anymore. Let's look at the CLI. What are our options? Oh, there's a watch. Okay. Similar to serve, but does not start a as server. Okay. Okay, so serve is the default command. Whoop. Closing everything accidentally. So let's actually do a start here. Let's see if we get any other errors. Kitty. Now we got the other kitty here. Okay. Come on up. Say hi to stream. Parcel includes CSS translation and vendor prefixing by default. Okay. I mean, we could just, there really is not much in here. Like shrug, I'm just gonna delete it. And expected, oh my gosh. This is, have a chair. It's just for you. All the errors are still happening within parcel though. So we're running yarn parcel or yarn parcel server. We are giving it style sheets, app, and index. We are pulling in CSS via modules. If we look at say hi. Kitty number 2. This one might actually sit on my lap. Which, if she's feeling that right now, is going to be better than her licking my green screen. So it doesn't specifically have any instructions for Tailwind. Not saying it needs to. It's becoming common enough that that's not unheard of. You please stop. Come on up. All right, Tailwind CSS. Do we bump this? I guess it seems like it's related to TS or CSS. Do they have a installation for framework guides here. Parcel. Create a post CSS file in your project root. This is what I just removed. All right, she's now. It says Lincoln style sheet. Start by creating install Tailwind. So there's a Tailwind config, which is what we have. It still says create a post CSS RC file in your project root. I guess I'm going to bring that file back, even though it seems to be throwing errors with that. It does only say use Tailwind CSS there, though. I'm going to stop that for the moment. I'm going to remove auto prefixer, which actually isn't in here right now. Okay. This does say post CSS. I'm going to go ahead and just bump it. I don't think we're too far behind. 29. I'm going to end up bumping all this stuff just to get anything to work, which is unfortunate. Add Tailwind directives. We've got that. We've got that here. I'm not sure why I made that a module. And no, my nose is all itchy. I'm allergic to cats. And yet I have two. So parcel, and then we start using it in your project. Okay. The index.html, what does that look like? We've got style sheet. I don't think I actually need that to be a module. This is more of a this kind of situation. I don't know that that's the thing causing us issues. Expected content key to exist. Wow. These are just very cryptic errors. I'm not seeing anything that's just jumping out at me as the obvious resolution. It's certainly possible that this is this way. I can remember left hand here. Certainly possible that that is out of date. Not taking that off the cards, but parcel build, browser lists. I'm actually curious now what browser lists. Let's just do a build. What else do we got here? Oh. Interesting that I'm both importing it there and don't think I actually need it here. I'm gonna pull it out, see what happens. See if we can get it in a build now. Really? Okay. Let's try watch. So we got a build, so something is working. Okay. What the what? Auto installing polyfill for node built-in module process. So reach utils has that's installed. This doesn't feel like it's specifically an issue with this. I don't really want because that was coming in from reach and reach tabs. I don't really need that in here if nope. Do not disturb, please. Okay. I don't. If we're taking a reach UI, I don't need additional dependencies pulled in from via parcel to support that. So now if I just remove it, I'm still getting that content key issue. We did get a build, which is interesting. So something is working. I did remove that. Oh, I didn't do an install today. Okay. That's fine. Let us tab view. We are going to go ahead and just comment all this out. That should give us the exact same issue. Okay. A build should now complete. It does. Now what in the what would we're gonna do an almost start since we're consistently getting it now. We could potentially try going to localhost and see if this is going to give us any extra context here. So it's coming from parcel array.map parcel null throws. Expected content key to exist. I have no idea. Oh, okay. All right. What are our commands? Because they said there's the lazy start take off the lazy. I don't think that's going to make a difference. But I want to just remove any potential. Delete the partial cache code. Oh my goodness. I hope it's not. I feel like we've run into this before where just something wonky happens. Look at these cryptic errors and it ends up being something with the partial cache. Or not necessarily because of the partial cache, but something gets corrupted or out of or in a bad state and it gets cached in partial cache and everybody just says delete it. Auto installing polyfill. Because that used it. We gotta build. Hey. What actually caused this issue? I mean, a lot of updates, I could definitely see the cache just getting, it probably makes sense to do something like a post install hook where we delete the post or we delete the partial cache. I'm going to just go ahead and do that now. Post install, and if we say I bet you we have rimraf installed. We could potentially just say rimraf parcel cache. And now if we do, let's go ahead and cancel you. I don't too much care. We do a post install. I'm imagining it's very likely that we have rimraf installed, yeah. So it removed the parcel cache. That's probably going to be the... We're going to do dist as well. So now anytime we touch node modules, this is going to end up clearing both the parcel cache and the dist, which hopefully prevents some of these weird corruption issues, which seem to be when we are mixing multiple versions of things with parcel. So now if we do start, we should get something here. Nice. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to do, I think this lazy still works. I'm going to go ahead and do -- lazy. Now what lazy does, it's only going to build the pieces that you actually need, which in theory, I'm going to go just do an install so we can get those things cleared again. It builds faster. So here, built 60 or, two-thirds of a second. Now if we restart, we do get a little bit of a delay, because every time you go to parts that are lazy loaded and not actually build, it needs to do it. There. But building it and running it is not, it's not always a huge lift. Cannot find module. Interesting. That's another cryptic error. I'm not sure what the errors are going to look like with that. So like if we go to this import, that's kind of a cryptic error, as is that. Now, I think it makes sense because there's an issue with tab view likely. But like, if I don't know that offhand or ahead of time, if we run into this issue and we see this error message, how do I know that that error message is actually being caused by, like in this case, the tab view? It does point to it but just that general import, I don't know. That could very well be because of the dash lazy. So like that might be something that we want to just rip out. I'm gonna leave it in for the moment, but we'll come back to that. All right, let's actually see if we can get some progress on our tab panel here. I'm gonna pull these in again. We're gonna do this. We're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna do this. The tab panels is not needed anymore, but I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that component there just so I have the class names, so I know what I used. We did get a pretty immediate build. And now if we go back to something like this, do we have... I think these are our tabs, right? Oh, wrong one. So the import page throws that error, planning throws that error, and it's still throwing it. It's coming from tab view. There's not anything really in here that's... I'm potentially run our test too. That might clue us in a little bit. So planning is throwing it because of transactions. Transactions uses tab view. So tab view is a component here. Is there some piece of that that is tab contents? Okay. Can I find module? Yeah, that's weird. Let's try taking off. Let's try taking off lazy and see what happens. Now, it seemed like it rebuilds everything. Let's go ahead and just do an npmi to get our just in cache cleared. I didn't really intend it to be used that way. Sometimes what I'll do is add in, so rather than putting a post install hook that rimrafts or otherwise removes the cache in the dist folder, sometimes what I'll do is add a like npm run clean. But the post install made sense because it seems like anytime I touch dependencies, parcel cache starts to get wonky. So if I can just clean them every time I do an install, it should hopefully cut down on odd issues. But that wouldn't be the way that I always do it. I've kind of started doing it just running npm install though to get those the equivalent of npm run clean. You know, it is what it is. Hi kitty. This error hasn't gone away though, so cannot find module. Okay, React does not recognize the active class name prop. So we are exporting a class of, oh, there's still classes too. Interesting. I think it should be fine. We did replace this. I don't think this is causing the issue, but
I'm actually going to remove that. I don't like the just select a tab. It doesn't really give context on what the tab is. And we have a different option now. Oh. Use tabs context is not defined. Hey, okay. Turns out, ironically, that was the issue. Hi. Hi. Yes. Do you need my attention? Yes. Okay. Whoop. Ow! We got some long nails. This is how the cats seek attention. Getting scratches on my face. So this is what. That's not going to help us out there. So this might be actually a situation where we pull in React daily. Does this have something to do with tabs? Or does this have something to help manage that? Use toggle state. Tab. Use table state. Use tab list state. So see the docs for use tab list in react-aria. Okay. So react-aria has this. So we've got oh, what? Oh, you would use, oh, no. Well, they've got a tab in here. Tabs, tab, div, tab panel. Okay, so this implementation would be that they basically like built up a component using these hooks. But we also have the components. I think, or I'm at least assuming that these tabs and this tab component are potentially using it internally. Default selection, so tabs, tab list. I don't think I really need any of that. It might be handling this already. So if I straight away just take out these, and I need to get rid of the tab context. So we're just gonna, for the moment, do this. All that's doing is CSS right now. That might give us enough. Oh, wrong one. Okay, invalid DOM property class. Do you mean class name? I did. Maybe not. Where is that icicle chart? Okay, we're not going to deal with that now. It seems like it's doing the thing though, so that's good. Now if we would click on, I like that. That's nice. If we click on them, it doesn't work, so we're not quite there. Selection, controlled selection. When tabs is used with dynamic items as described below, the key for each item is derived from the data. Keyboard activation. I do like that. So keyboard use will be like implemented by default. Dynamic items. Oh, that's nifty. Disabled items. styling. Yeah, okay, so you can use the hook-based API if you need to do more with it. So you can use the tab list and effectively implement it yourself. A default selection tab can be provided using the default selected key prop. I don't think that's gonna be a big deal. So we can do this. And that would give us like this selection as a default. I'm assuming that then it will contain the state. We can also do this where we've got you can dynamically add and remove. Nifty. Cool. Guessing it just removes the last one. Yep. Okay. Orientation, disabled items. So disabled items would then show it but not allow us to click it, which is cool. So I guess the expectation is just to use the state. I mean, this is specifically, though, set up in a way where you can add and remove. So I don't... Okay, let's do... That is being dictated by this. So if I just take off this and we straight away do tabs, what are we looking at? Is the... Oh. Ah. Okay. Gotta pass that. Okay, so it's definitely not changing the selection states. Collection? Well, what's collection? Okay, so we've got collections of items. Interesting, okay. It will not be as performant. Interesting. Interesting. I think it's not going to be as big of a deal, potentially, but that is something to keep in mind. And it might just make sense to do. We've got a more of a hard-coded-ish version, though. Ow, just kicked the chair next to me. I don't need keyboard activation to be manual. I guess we do this. And that is kind of what we're doing here. So I think what I'm actually going to do is say, I'm going to switch, well, no, I'm going to leave it as a class. So it is setting up some incoming props, and it's setting the state to active tab is 0. So when selected key on selection change. Okay. And that is in tabs. So the selected key is going to be this, and our key is based off of the ID. So if we have, I mean, we could probably do this. Is that, yep. ID. I think that makes sense. The key is separate here though, which is, I just actually make it the same. It probably makes more sense to have it as the title actually, but that might just make sense to come back to. We are, so it's doing this, the hook. It's doing the hook for state. So there's this.set state. So tab click. I think we do want to then do this. And that, I believe, is going to do it for us. So now, if we do a refresh, hey, look at that. Okay. We're not getting the, we've lost a little bit of the like border around it, around our content. Whoop, that's not what I'm to do. That I think is coming in from this. So the tabs panel. I think we can just pull this and onto it here. That might be enough to give us the padding and whatnot as we expect. That handles this, but it's not handling up here, which is fine because we also have this. The selected index, styled tab. So styled tab is coming from active tab. I guess we just do this. Then we do that, and that, and that. Feel like I can probably shift this around a little bit, but there we go. The tabs are working. We can do keyboard navigation. I am pressing the arrow keys when I do that. It'd be nice to, I need to figure out like how I can, when I press certain keyboard shortcuts or whatever, say what it's doing. And we get the selection context and everything. I like it. I think this will be fine. So I think we can call the tabs done for now. We might want to like come back and fix some of this styling and whatnot, but that's not going to be a today thing. We've got probably 20 more minutes, I would imagine. Yeah, I think we're gonna give it another 20 minutes. Let's see if we can. What other components do we have? We've got. This is our calendar. This is using the built-in browser one, I believe. It's not awful. I might actually do. I think I do actually kind of want to switch though, because it's got things like this. I'm presuming, yeah, we have some location. Although the browser might The browser might help us out with some of that too. So we'll come back to this. This kind of stuff though, I think is going to be where the browser is not going to help us out much. I'm going to close the default one so I don't keep looking at it. We've got number fields, we've got drop downs, we've got text fields. Maybe we try to drop in a text field real quick. There is a generic input element. We've got input, radio, and select. Maybe select. So let's do a select first because I think that's going to be the most straightforward. I think the generic input is potentially slightly overloaded right now. So that might require a little bit additional attention. We have, oh wow, it's just, oh, interesting, okay. So it actually includes the button post, so it's adding a label, a button, a popover, and a list box. Okay. It's interesting that they put the button in there. That feels, I don't know, something about that feels awkward. The select that we have right now is just a class name and then everything else. So this might be doing a lot. We are calling it export const select. Let's say do an as select as does that make sense? react-aria select. So when we look at our select, what are we? What's our use? Field as select. And then we are giving it options. And this is interesting because it's doing like a list box and the popover. I kind of wonder like why recreate browser functionality? This feels fine. I don't know that I mean the combo box might be doing more because we can do something like no, well I mean even that is what is this doing? Reusable wrappers, okay. Content. Like we can potentially get more information out of it. But it doesn't seem like it's doing what is it additionally doing over and above text slots? Yeah, so it's like this is where that starts to make sense, I think, where you can overload the actual like what is shown in there. I'm not seeing styling, label, advanced. Oh, so let's look at the advanced. So you can potentially do some like advanced filtering and whatnot. I'm not terribly keen on just dropping that in right now. I think the select box is probably going to be sufficient here. Let's go ahead and remove this. We have a radio. What does the radio look like here? I don't know that I have radio group. I don't know that I have a strong use case off the top of my head for these either. I mean, it's fine. Like, it does the thing and it looks arguably the same. I guess maybe we look at text, because select doesn't feel like, I mean, we might have more ability to customize some of this, but I don't know. I'm just not convinced, I guess. Like there's immediate value in jumping to adjust it. So the number field though might make sense, because those these controls are not very big and they're not easy to press. So having something like this probably starts to make more sense, especially as we're like looking at currency type things. So if we look at, we don't actually have a number, so this might make sense to be something that we can drop in and get some immediate value from. The where guess we should look right here. We've got the table, we've got some more table things with the tab view that we just looked at. So the transaction input is got, so these are coming from Formic. So we've got a class component here, and it's using Formic. So Formic might actually be something that makes sense to bump the version as well. We've got fields and field groups. So here we've got an select. We've got an input. Where's a number? Start, begin. So this would be a number, type number. And we're rendering it as an input. So we can do, let us take the input, we will copy it, we will paste it, and we will call it number. And let's drop in this number field. We will go ahead and grab their example. We will pull this in down here. So generically, the default type is text. We would be setting this to a number. And then we've got a class name. The class, I'm not certain where that's going to end up showing up. I'm going to put it up here for now. And then we can get rid of input. So I don't think I need to type text. We can say maybe a label. I'm guessing there's going to be like a value. Default value, min value, and default value. Oh. Are those ones that I defined, or are they just, Is it just helping me out here? I guess default value, in value. We got a name, we got an ID, and a type number. And we have our input. The default value probably doesn't need to be defined, nor does the main value. And I'm not actually using value, which is interesting. All right. So now if we go back here and we say, let's do we're going to look at add transactions. The thing we specifically care about is the number. There is going to be type income, start, begin, after. So value would be like the number, the currency. And as it stands right now, add transaction value, input, so that's cycle. This is a repeat type. So we get, if we do something like dynamic, that's what a bunch of these are referring to. So this is going to be a situation where we guess, and we need to look at something in here. Actually, it's probably this. Transaction amount computed. And this is the thing handling the, if it's static, do that, otherwise do that. So we have a field group and it's using as input. We will switch this to number, name, ID, type, number. Don't need to say type anymore. And then we can say number. So that should, yeah. And we can see our CSS is not being applied currently. So I think we potentially want it on the input. I don't, the hot module reloading is interesting. Like it doesn't, I don't feel like I consistently know. Oh, maybe in the group. I don't feel like I consistently know when it's actually done the hot module reloading. So I end up just refreshing a whole bunch. So it's definitely still not on the field. What are we doing? We're setting some information about it. I mean, it's gotta be. Number field. Number field allows user to enter. Okay. This is the number field where we would add CSS. So it's passing all the props to number field. It has some description and error message. I think I'm gonna actually toss those in there. And we're gonna take the props So any of the props that we are not using, come on, props, we are going to spread into the number field itself. And I don't need this right now, and also don't need that right now, because it will be coming from the spread. And if we go ahead and go back and look at our number, it still doesn't quite look as we anticipate because it's not picking up those styles. What does it say about the styles? So we can control the value. The value then is label, transaction, so number formatting, percentages, currency, units. So there's the style. Okay, class name. And that's on the number field. So that number field is the thing that's expecting a class name. Which I thought we had set. Let's try it again though. We go here and here. So it's definitely not. It's not picking those up as expected. An input accepts all props supported by the input HTML element. So styling. We can do a class name on the number field. So we can style specific components. We can also do a class name and it'll override it. Alright, so this feels like the right place to put it, but I think what's happening is there's an expectation that like some of this might make sense to live elsewhere. If we just do something like this, we don't want those styles on everything, on every one of those lines. But if this seems to work better, it doesn't, then like we just might end up needing a subset of it. So it's on the number field, the group, and the input itself. So here's a specific text component. Text. Oh, are we getting an error? We might just be getting an error and it might not be telling us. Okay, so those are both ones that were existing there. Huh. It doesn't even seem to be including like the buttons. That's what's kind of interesting about this is it's potentially like this nested error or this nested situation that's giving these confusing issues. So if we go back and look here, we're doing a field as number. So this is a field comes from formark, right? Field is from formark, yeah. So we're saying, hey, do this component, but instead of using their like divs, wrap it with this component instead. And originally that was using the input field, which would set the type and then a class name on that input itself. So I think that points to the fact that we need that class name on the input itself. If we look at react-aria docs and we pull in, or we look at the props for input, where is it? We are importing it. Button, grid, list, menu. So forms, file trigger, search field. Okay, so these are like wrappers around text field, label, and input. So even though these say forms, all of these are like wrappers around sub-elements. The pickers tooltip doesn't actually seem like the input is documented anywhere. At least separately. So like if we look here, we are doing this like outer scope thing, which type of input to render CMDN. If we go back to the number field and we look in the same area, props, so input. An input accepts all props supported by the input HTML element. So where you're giving it a class, and then I guess we can look to see that it's actually getting those classes. We're seeing some focus string stuff. Something weird is happening here. Let's try an empty cache and a hard reload. So if this is changing and updating in a way that I would expect to see we don't have those classes on here. I'm looking for like focus. We don't have a export for all of this. We're doing an import. As RE input. I think it's like self-referential kind of issue. Well, that is weird. I think that definitely was an issue. But if we're looking at this, I don't see those classes anywhere. Like, where are they going? We are doing class name. It has a label, a group, an input, and a button. The number field takes a custom class. So we do class names on any of these pieces. I would expect that we could do it on input. We would be giving it a class name, and it's that. But take it off all of these. I think we do want the props passed to the outer scope one. So example, that's a controlled state, validation, units, currency. What is my number field? Okay, so it's a function here. We are passing, we get error message and we get description and label. Label is being used, and then we do props and spread them to everything else. We do have the description in this, so like that's definitely a thing. Was that like tripping things up here? No, there's still nothing on there. There are 2 errors. Active class. Okay, so it's nav. I don't know why that's not updating. Like our buttons aren't even showing up. Ow. It's not an input anymore, it's now a number. So it was trying to render it as like a built-in component. Okay, here we go. So now we get the buttons on either side. We do need to make a slight adjustment to the CSS. Where are you? Show CSS. So react-aria group is doing a flux, which is how that's showing up. We have this is just purely CSS. We do have Tailwind in the mix though. So I think we end up just adding a class for flex, which matches that same functionality. So displace flex fit content. Item stretch, place, flex. Where's the fit content? Fit content. Object fit. All right, so I think we just add in the class flex to this. We'll see what happens. We'll go from there. Okay. Now our buttons need a little bit of love. We could probably look here and see what our buttons look like. Effects, transform, SVG, borders, background. Where are you, buttons? Button, pill buttons. So we do need a LG for this button. Class name is this. Oh my goodness, okay. So that rounds that one, and then we want the right side version. And that'll round them. Do we need to do any more with positioning them? No. I don't need the squiggly brackets in here because it's straight text right now. Let's just give that a peek. Okay, it looks like it rounded them. Now we need a little bit of like padding and stuff in here. So direction, using the rounded. Oh, that's kind of cool. So I think I'm fine rounding them separately. Rounded full, no rounding. All right, what's our pill buttons? I mean, that's where we are right now. It is specifically saying divs though, which is interesting. Button, file input buttons. Or radio button. Where's the actual like just button? Button? This feels like a So I guess we just do something like that where we hover on it. Well, what do our other buttons look like? Button class. So we are saying border transparent. We've got the rounding already in there. Then I think we do this. There's a bunch of focus things on there. We're not gonna need them all. And when I say all, we're not going to need, I want border. We don't need the rounded, and we don't need a shadow. Text, I think, is helpful. And I think we can keep all the focus. So these are it's kind of a lot going on with these, class names here, which is not the best experience, but okay, we got an error. A slot prop is provided. Yes, I need to remove that slot prop. That was a copy and paste issue. A slot prop is required. Did I actually need those? Okay. Ooh, let's grab this. We're gonna go back. Slot increment. Okay. I guess I might have needed those. Decrement. Alright, no more errors about that. Hey, alright. We need just a smidge of padding. We are gonna say px3. I'm okay with that. This input then also does not need to do rounding. Rounded medium can go away because the square will meet there. Cool. Well, I think that looks good. We do still need to hook up the button clicks and such. That's fine though. We can continue that at another point. We have a few components. We are looking at. We added the number component. We had the input component and the select. I don't know that it makes sense to use their select component. And I think we might just integrate components that feel like it might make sense. This number field for this specific experience feels to make sense, where we can increment and decrement here. And maybe some of these radio group controls, those might make sense, but I don't know that some of these other components are going to make sense to adjust or replace. We have the whole component installed, the whole component react-aria monorepo installed, so we have access, pretty easy access to pulling these components as they're needed. But I think we're only going to do this for components or these inputs that feel like they have a need right now. We did replace this, so we got rid of the @reach/tabs package, and I think we just pull in the ones that make sense from here. I think that's where we're going to call it, though. We ended up running a little bit longer than I was expecting. We ran into a whole bunch of upgrade issues, which was unfortunate, but we got it working. And I think we've got a basis to go from here. I'll probably open up a PI to replace some of these and include these upgrades, and we can go from there. Like I said, I think it's not going to make sense to do a wholesale replacement of all of these inputs. Pull it in where it makes sense and go from there. There's enough here that could mostly, with a little bit of additional effort, sprinkled on top, open up a PR to pull this in, and we can go from there. And I can also do a separate PR for some of these upgrades. And then I think we can kind of just keep working on the inputs from there. It seems like this is a nice library, and it's got different levels of integrations that we could drop down into more low-level pieces if we need to. So I think this is going to give us like functional components, which we can style to meet our needs, and we'll just pull in the parts that we want. And I think this will work. I think this is a good choice. But that's enough for this project. Next week we are. I'm gonna put up the reminder or the schedule for the stream next week. Pending any unknowns, we should be having a guest, and we'll be doing Tori stuff. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button wherever it is down here, and then when that notification, or when we schedule that stream, hit the notification bell so you can hear when that stream pops up. I'm excited to do that one. That's gonna be a fun one. So thanks to anybody that has stopped by and stuck around. We'll keep pulling up this project. We've got lots of little random bits that we can shift around and replace, and we'll probably do a couple more like planning streams and talking about how we think about moving this forward as a project. So a little bit different of a topic relative to technical or like hard technical, but I think it's very I think it's very important, because the ability to plan and map out where you should go with something, it's a little bit more of the like more senior staff managerial type skill sets that's important if you like want to move up in a software career. So next Tuesday, we're going back to Tori. See you then. Have a good rest of the week. Bye. Where's the button? Bye.